So, Brandon.
Hello, Eddie.
Have you heard
Hello,
the news that this is making like crazy news, like
crazy.
it's on TMZ, ESPN, everywhere, that UFC light heavyweight contender Thiago Silva, who is a guy that you've been in the octagon with before and fought, and again, the guy was, after the fight, popped for steroids. He has been arrested in Florida after a police standoff where SWAT had to be called and come down and apprehend this guy. Have you heard about this yet?
You know, the only reason why I heard about this, I've been kind of off the internet for a couple days, maybe posting early in the morning, but the only reason why I heard about this, people were texting me photos of internet pages and news clips and videos.
Yeah.
And like, Brandon, you have to check this out. Brandon, you have to check this out. Brandon. Remember Thiago Silva? Remember Thiago Silva?
Yeah.
Look at this monkey. I was like, what?
Yep.
So yeah, I've been hearing about this since yesterday. Probably after 3 o'clock is when I started getting all my 3 o'clock here or 6 o'clock here. I started getting text messages galore.
Yeah. So what's the latest deal, Sky? What are they saying, that he was, he got into some sort of altercation at his gym, and it was based on like his he was armed. And they said it was like a love triangle thing with his wife or something.
Yeah, one of the trainers and his wife is what they're talking about.
Right?
And so like you reported earlier, Eddie, that's why the incident started at the gym and the cops got calls, but then it ended at his house.
Where he like barricaded himself in there, SWAT had to be called out.
Yeah.
It is a crazy deal.
That situation itself is already crazy enough.
Yeah.
For that to happen to a fighter who's juiced out of his mind, I can only imagine what was going to go
amped up a little bit.
Yeah, so
slightly.
And I do feel for the SWATs and the cops. You know, there are a lot of bad cops, but there's a lot of good cops. And when you're in a situation like that where you have a professional athlete, a fighter,
who's a scary dude,
badass,
he's a scary dude
with a weapon, like things just got real. You know, like
no doubt.
that's probably one of the worst situations to be in. You know, so I'm glad everything ended the way it did.
Yeah.
I'm glad nobody's
seemed like nobody got hurt.
Yeah, nobody's dead.
Right. Because that could have gone really bad.
That could have gone really, really bad in a lot of different ways. So I mean, it's fun to poke and point fun at Thiago, and I'm sorry that he's going through that thing. Mm-hmm. But if you were on the sauce, I'm pretty sure it didn't help at all.
Right.
Yeah. Well, interesting. He went in front of a judge this morning at about 8:20 this morning, and the judge actually threw out the attempted murder charges, even though he shoved a gun allegedly into his wife's mouth.
Oh well.
But the judge said,
wasn't going to do anything.
The judge said, "quote."
It wasn't loaded.
Yeah.
So
the judge says, "quote, it just seems if he wanted to shoot Miss Silva, he would have done it. He didn't do it, so they threw out the attempted murder charges."
Okay. That
So aggravated.
This is Florida, you guys.
Aggravated assault.
I do like Florida, though.
Yeah.
I do like Florida's laws.
And because of his UFC ties and his ties to Brazil, he is being held in custody as a flight risk.
Ooh.
That
didn't
sucks.
even think about that.
Yeah,
does that
because that's
mean?
true.
Like
Flight
he
risk,
could leave the country and then never
He could
again.
bounce.
Never come back.
So he's allowed to? Leave
Well,
the
not now. But
No bail.
he's from Brazil, so
Being held.
they're afraid that he would bail back to Brazil and be like, "See ya, peace out."
Well,
So
think about it.
he's
For
not
him,
allowed to leave.
no, he's not. Because from Florida, it's easy to go to Cuba.
Oh, that's right. Cuba's right there.
Right.
Bounce.
And
So-
Brazil, like right around the corner.
right down the street.
It's like basically
There's
the
the
same.
Caribbean and the Bahamas right
So
over
there you
there.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it.
And then earlier this morning, I had reported that the UFC hadn't really made a comment about it. They were waiting for more details, but until Dana heard about
Oh,
it.
hello.
When the president
Let
hears
Dana
about,
hear
it,
about it.
Dana said,
Yeah.
that guy's never fighting for us again.
Which is nuts.
I love you, Dana.
He doesn't mess, man. He doesn't mess.
I know, but when Dana says that, man, somebody always ends up fighting for the UFC again.
That kind of is true. And I also go, that's kind of risky, being that, what if he's found innocent? You can't, like
No,
he could, like, sue them for,
No, if the report was that he shoved a gun in somebody's mouth and then the judge dropped that charge, but he did do it, like,
Yeah.
yeah,
he
the
still
company's
did it.
for sure not going to let you
I don't
work for
think he
them
cares.
anymore.
Yeah, I don't think Dana cares.
This is why I love Dana, though.
He doesn't mess.
He doesn't care. And
He doesn't mess.
And you know what I like about Dana? Like, kind of the same train of thought as me. Like, you just shoot from the hip and it comes out your mouth. What you're
There's no
thinking
filter
of
with Dana White.
in your head and in your heart.
Yeah.
You know, And then if he decides to retract the statement later on, he'll make an apology and
He
say,
will.
hey, he was thinking one way or another. But I like that he shoots from the hip, man. I like that he
Me
shoots
too.
it straight.
It's
I like it.
genuine, dude. Like,
Yes.
it's real.
Yes.
The only
respect
disappointing thing about it is that you won't get a rematch with Thiago Silva in the cage. It might have to be somewhere else,
That's
but
awesome, brother. And in either cage, I
Yeah.
don't plan on being in jail anytime soon. either.
all right, let's talk a little bit about the actual action in the cage.
Right.
UFC 169 took place last weekend. Interesting card. It was a bit underwhelming in terms of the prelims and stuff like that. Things started to kick off a little bit better once the pay-per-view started. That
Yes.
Jamie Varner, Abel Trujillo fight, that, again, early candidate for Fight of the Year. Those guys, this is what I like when guys get in there and they just throw
Fight.
all caution to the wind and just throw.
Just
like,
fight.
Like, literally, no holds barred. Is that the same?
Yes.
Where, like, they don't hold back. They aren't fighting to win or, like, not lose. They're literally giving it everything that they have.
They're not even trying to fight to win. They're trying to just knock the other person
Yeah.
out.
Beat the S out of
It's
the
beyond
person.
winning. Like
Yeah.
it's beyond winning. Like you're just trying to finish the fight.
It's the best.
That
That's
those
the
fights,
fight.
you see the fights. Like I remember when,
Yeah.
we were watching the fights at my house. The whole Alliance crew was there, and there's some people in the man cave, some in the front room, and some upstairs. And as soon as that fight happened, you could hear it from around the house.
Yeah.
Fight of the night! Fight of the night! Everybody's screaming, running around. Oh my God!
Yeah.
Fight of the night!
Yeah, it was great, man. That was a barn burner. I
It was
love
awesome.
that fight.
Kicked it off.
Yeah, that kicked it off. So that was good. Then we get into your division, the heavyweight division. And speaking of fighting to not lose, that's exactly what Alistair Overeem did to fight Frank Mir. And he
Yes.
came out and admitted it. He said, "Listen, I didn't want to get cut." And so I had a safe game plan, and I went out there and I fought to not lose.
Yes.
What did you think about that?
I thought for Overeem, it was perfect.
Really?
Because Overeem had been whipping the hell out of some people bad,
Yeah.
and then just gets knocked out
You would get gassed.
by accident,
Right.
or he ran into something, or he just wasn't paying attention, or
Right.
his heart stops pumping blood to all those ginormous muscles.
Right.
So I think for him, it was good because he's never done that, and I think it was definitely a growing experience for Alistar. I understand as a fan, it kind of sucked.
Yeah.
But to see Alistar actually be able to switch his game to not get knocked out
Pace himself.
and pace himself was refreshing. Like to see him growing as a fighter.
Yeah.
So I have two takes on it. As a fan, it was boring, man. It's like, man, come on, you couldn't finish Frank at
Yeah.
that point. Boo. But as a fighter, to see him do that, he's thinking now. He's not just running out of gas and running into
Right.
things thinking he's super tough. So it was good and bad. And this is the discussion we're having right after the fight as well at the house. So I mean, it's good. I understand both sides of
Makes
it.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's an interesting take. And then you got into the two title fights. The first one, Jose Aldo and Ricardo Lamas.
Mr. Aldo.
Aldo is Aldo, man. And
Aldo.
all he does is
Yeah.
go out there and dominate.
And punish people. And you know, we talked about it last
Okay.
week. I said if Aldo shows up flat like he did against the last fight, and remember, I didn't know if it was because of his broken leg or broken foot.
Right.
I didn't know what happened. And he didn't look anything like his last fight. He looked like the best Aldo we've seen so far.
That dude's a killer.
He's a beast.
He was amazing. His
One of my
timing,
favorites.
it's like the old kung fu movies when you see one little bad guy from a village going around bullying everybody, and he runs into the older dude, and
Yeah.
the older guy's just playing with him and making him look silly. It's
Right.
kind of what happened this
Yeah.
fight. Like this kid was good, Lamas was good, but nowhere near the
Different
level
level,
of
man.
Aldo.
Yeah.
Nowhere near the level, and Lamas is number 2.
Yeah.
I don't really think there's a number 3 that can beat.
Well, now
Lamas
they're
up
saying
bad.
that Aldo's going to move up to 155 and fight Pettis.
He has to.
Yeah. I mean, at this
He
point,
has to, bro. He has to. He has to,
Completely
man.
dominated.
He's cleared
his
out the division.
He's clear, not just cleared it out, embarrassed everybody in the division. and
Dominated the division.
dominated.
Done.
he
That's
might
a wrap.
he might be the best fighter right now in the UFC.
He's so
Pound for
good.
pound,
Pound for
for
pound.
sure he is. Pound for
So
pound.
good.
And not just because of his win record, but because the way he wins. Like Lamas couldn't hit him. Like Aldo would move out of the way and be right back in before Lamas even finished his technique. Like he just happened to move out of the way and it was right back in before Lamas even finished throwing.
Unbelievable.
Lamas was throwing combinations and nervous about getting hit before he was even finished with his
Oh,
combinations.
jeez.
Aldo was just amazing looking that night. Those leg kicks, man.
Oh,
Did you guys
brutal.
see?
Dude.
Ouch.
I don't know how he was standing.
There was a running bet at the house. Okay, by the third round, fight's over. There's no way you can just keep taking those kind of kicks over and over again. And he was doubling up on kicks. He was checking kicks and then kicking them right back. It was beautiful stand-up, beautiful defensive wrestling, beautiful get-ups from the ground. It was just... It
was a perfect performance for him.
It was perfect. And you know when I always talk about MMA, everybody's like, oh, it's such a brutal sport. It's like cockfighting. No.
No, it's not.
That evening,
Yeah.
Aldo made it look like ballet.
Yeah.
He made it look like a beautiful art that people take years and years and years and years to develop. He made it look like a Tai Chi.
Yeah.
Like he made it look effortless and fluid. You know, he made it look so beautiful.
That's awesome.
Good job. Good job, Champ Aldo.
Right? And then we get into the main event where Mr. Renan Barão took on Uriah Faber, and kind of everybody was expecting a war. Not so much. Barão was kicking his butt, and then we had the controversial stoppage. First of all, what did you think of the fight, and then what did you think of the stoppage?
Okay, so the fight, I've never seen Mr. Uriah Hall do the snake leg before. Yeah, he got dropped
twice.
The first time, he was asleep on his feet before he even started to lean back and fall. He hit the deck, boom, woke him up, got back up, Uriah's back in the game. He's in shape, he can recover instantaneously, you know? Right back in the game, starting to go again, got hit with overhand right. Bing! All of a sudden, he started doing stanky leg / Gundam style, the whole nine. And then Mr. Barão just jumped on him.
Destroyed.
After Mr. Barão jumped on Faber, Mr. Faber, he grabbed a single leg and was protecting his face. Barão just started pounding on his head, and we've seen that position there. I can't even count how many times where the fighter really is done.
Yeah,
he can't do anything else. Nothing else is happening.
Right.
He's just wanting the ref to stop, but he's not. He's not going to stop as a fider because he's not.
But he's not intelligently defending himself.
He's just defending. He's not intelligently defending. He's not going to
moving.
There's nowhere he was gonna go.
Nowhere. And you know when they stopped, Uriah jumped up. Was like, "Hey, I was okay." Yes, you were, but you already been knocked out twice before then, and you weren't moving already. Well, so let's err on the side of caution as opposed to you're half brain dead.
Yeah.
Well, Herb Dean, I in the past I've thought he's stopped fights too soon. In the past, like he's not my favorite ref for that reason. But in this situation, I mean, and I was like fighting with my friend over text because I'm like,
Ashley.
I'm like, because they're like, you know, they shouldn't have stopped the fight. Uriah wasn't done, and I'm like, dude, I'm like, when Herb Dean said do work because Uriah wasn't moving. He wasn't saying give him a thumbs up. He was saying fight him back, and if you don't, then you're done, son. And
yes,
a thumbs up is not what Herb Dean was looking for, and that's why that was a wrap too.
Yes, ma'am.
Right?
And especially after you've been slept twice.
Yeah.
Really fast, back to back. You know, like,
come on.
Yeah, you're losing that battle. There's no way to win that argument. You know, if you're in the court of law, there's too much against you. Yeah, there's too much against you already.
Yeah. So I actually agree that he fought or that he cut that fight in time.
I liked it. You know, and I would much rather see an early stoppage than a super late stoppage.
Yeah.
And that's with any fight.
Right.
So I loved what Herb Dean did. I love it. I love it. I think I agree with him. I agree with him 100%.
Well, speaking of, you know, looking for an opponent, now Barão is kind of in that situation as well.
Wait a minute. Before we go Barão, did you guys see the training video of him and Aldo training together?
No.
Man, so UFC before the main event starts.
I did see that. Yeah.
They're showing them train together and spar together with little gloves. The stuff that those guys were doing was amazing. Even their whole squad was watching. There's no way that these two guys are going to lose anytime soon, no matter who Barão picks or has to fight.
Well, they say that whole iron sharpens iron thing. You know, you're training with a world champion. It's only going to make you better.
It's not happening anytime soon.
Wow. Well, that's the thing about Barão is that, you know, they don't really have an opponent for him now, and so the name that keeps being brought up is your teammate Dominick Cruz.
Mr. Cruz.
And they're saying if they can get Dominick Cruz healthy, that's the guy that they want to put him in against Barão.
That's the only guy I believe that can beat Barão because there is no style. You cannot prepare for Mr. Cruz's style. There's no way. You can't. Dominick has his own style, his own world. He comes from a different place.
Different planet, let's be honest.
His pace and his techniques, you can't teach those. You know, you can't make that up. Dominick can't even teach those.
Yeah.
There's no way to get ready for Dominick. And that pace that he sets, would be impossible for Mr. Barao to keep up with.
So where are we at with? Do you have any kind of update on Dominic? How's he doing? How's he feeling? Anything?
I have no update.
No update
At all.
Man.
I love you, Dom. I miss
see?
you, bud.
And Dom's keeping it on the DL too,
Yeah.
which I think is actually pretty smart.
Yeah.
I mean, with the amount of injuries that
we
he's
don't need
had,
to talk about anything.
Yeah.
We don't need to speak about anything.
he's
You
back
know,
when he's back.
Yeah.
He'll be
Right.
back in the gym.
To
You know,
work.
when he's in town, Dominic's busy. He's with Monster. He's with a lot of different sponsors that are taking him around and making him do things right now because he can't train right now. So he's staying busy, working out, not like we would normally work out, but
Sure.
he's definitely working out and
Yeah.
keeping himself healthy. So it's a good thing. I know he's busy traveling a lot. So.
Yeah, I know. I got to get him back in here because I haven't talked to Dom in a while, and I don't want to talk to him and see how
He's
he's
going to
doing.
be so angry when we talk about.
I know.
I'm not going to be in studio when you guys talk about this.
I'm sure.
I'll let him yell at you guys.
No doubt about it, man. So next week we're going to talk about the big UFC fight night. Mr. Lyoto Machida taking on Gegard Mousasi, which, if you don't know about that fight is going to be crazy.
That's going to be an amazing fight. Gegard Mousasi is one of my favorite fighters just because of his style of always trying to finish everybody
Nice.
from every position, on the feet or on the ground and in between. Like, he's going to try to finish you. And Lyoto, the dragon, is the dragon.
Yes.
And next week is a fight night. At Alliance Training Center, I am teaching a seminar next Saturday.
Oh, good.
For all military. It's military appreciation. It's this weekend.
Yes, heck yeah.
Military appreciation should be every day of the year, Like,
No doubt.
those people do too much for us. So next week, I'm teaching a seminar. A lot of the pros will be there helping. We're doing 2 hours for anybody that's been in the military or is in the military.
So active or retired?
Active or retired. Or not even retired, because, if I say retired, some people are like, oh, I can't go.
Former. You
If
said
you're
former.
former military,
Yes.
honorable discharge, come on through. If you're a dishonorable discharge and you got yourself together, come on through. Anybody that's put a uniform on, man, come on through. Bring a friend. We'll take care of you guys. We're giving away T-shirts, water bottles. I just want you guys to have a good experience and
That's
understand what MMA is about. Afterwards, we're probably going to watch the fights at one of our many different locations.
Okay.
Either at the gym, one of the Tilted Kilts, or one of the clubs downtown in the Gaslamp
Nice.
area. And you're more than welcome to join the Alliance crew
sounds
for
great.
that. Man, you guys are more than welcome to it. You guys haven't hung out with us yet. Oh, snaps. Put them out. Front
What?
Street.
Put us on blast. What? No, that's awesome, man. That's really cool.
It's just to give back, man. And
Do you have to sign up, or do you know what the deal is?
call the gym,
Okay.
reserve your spot.
Okay.
That's all you got to do.
There you go.
It doesn't cost anything, and it's free $99.
We love
Can't
free.
beat that. So there you go.
Best price.
So that's happening next Saturday.
Next Saturday,
Okay,
free
cool.
seminar. Me teaching, all the pros helping
Love it.
for free, just for anybody put on a uniform.
Yeah.
Love you guys.
Dude, that
No
sounds
doubt.
great, man. Very
No
cool.
doubt.
Very cool. All right, we got to talk about what's been going on with the dunk contest. I guess